Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico threatened with reciprocal measures if Ukraine does not resume gas transit from Russia.
13 people have been killed and around 30 more injured in a Russian airstrike on Zaporizhia in South Ukraine. Russia has frequently launched aerial attacks on civilian areas during the almost 3-year war. Ukraine's leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, continues to pressure Kyiv's allies to strengthen its air defense systems.
Ключове для України – продовжити посилювати нашу ППО, дати Україні можливість щонайменше відігнати від наших міст, від наших кордонів російську військову авіацію. Це реально, якщо партнери зараз все ж таки реалізують домовленості, про які ми з ними давно говоримо.
Thousands of civilians have now been killed in what is Europe's biggest conflict since World War II. Earlier on Wednesday, the Ukrainian military said it struck a fuel storage depot deep inside Russia, causing a huge blaze at the facility that supplies an important Russian airbase.
Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico threatened with reciprocal measures if Ukraine does not resume gas transit from Russia. Speaking at a press conference in Brussels after talks with European Commission officials, Fico said Slovakia could cut off humanitarian aid to Ukraine, stop its emergency electricity supplies, and reduce or withdraw benefits for Ukrainian refugees.
Druhým dýchom hovorím veľmi jasne. Ak sa tento problém nevyrieši, vláda Slovenskej republiky príjme v krátkom čase tvrdé recipročné opatrenia. Áno, niekto môže povedať, že to je kruté, čo teraz hovorím, ale kruté je aj to, čo robí Zelenský voči nám a čo robí voči Európskej únie. Je to poškodzujúce, je to kruté.
A pipeline that runs through Ukraine used to be one of the 4 networks through which Russian gas flowed to the European Union. Kyiv decided to halt this gas supply as a transit deal signed before the start of the war expired at the end of 2024. In a post on social media platform X, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the decision to halt the transit means Moscow will lose what he says is one of its most profitable and geographically accessible markets.
Financing its rearmament is a difficult balance for the EU. On the one hand, public finances are in the red. On the other hand, the Russian threat and the prospect of a US isolationist retreat are looming over Europe. In the wake of the war in Ukraine, different solutions are on the table to finance the continent's defense, such as buying weapons together. However, the specific needs of member states in terms of armaments sometimes hinder this form of cooperation.
The starting point needs to be what do we need to spend money on together to increase efficiency, become more cost effective, reduce the cost of what we're doing. I mean, talk about hypersonic missiles, air defense, cyber, satellite. These are all areas where if we work together, drone warfare also, if we work together in these areas, we will really get more bang for the buck.
European common debt through Eurobonds could help finance the rearmament, but supporters of fiscal orthodoxy like Germany remain reluctant to borrow jointly.
Always has to be shorter. The idea behind more EU joint borrowing is the fact that quite a few member states have problems with their national finances, and here this would be in a way then to use the collective power of the EU as a borrower to make it, in fact, cheaper to borrow money. We have done that in other cases.
Some, like Emmanuel Macron, call for buying European in the name of strategic autonomy. Others prefer to place orders elsewhere to reduce costs or delivery times.
C'est une question de sécurité aussi, de réfléchir qu'est-ce qu'on achète en européen, puisque bien sûr, ce qu'on fabrique en Europe, on est prioritaire pour le consommer. Ce qui est fabriqué ailleurs qu'en Europe, on n'est pas prioritaire pour le consommer. On a beau signer un contrat, si les conditions changent, s'il se passe quelque chose dans l'Indo-Pacifique ou à Taïwan, les Européens ne seront pas prioritaires. Donc en fait, il faut assurer ses arrières et donc C'est pas qu'il ne faudrait acheter que européen, je pense que personne n'a ça en tête, mais il faut revaloriser peut-être la part de ce qui est européen dans ce qu'on achète.
The EU's role in this matter has been and still is limited. Defense remains to be an exclusive competence of the member states.
Some 10,000 people have been evacuated from the German city of Dresden after the discovery of a World War II bomb on Wednesday. The device was discovered during the demolition of a bridge near the historic center. Authorities have decided to defuse it on site. Dresden was the site of several bombing campaigns, including the infamous February 1945 air raids that saw the Allies drop 4,000 bombs, leaving the city center in ruins and killing 25,000 people.
Italian journalist Cecilia Sala has returned to Rome. Sala was detained in the Iranian capital 3 weeks ago by police forces who accused her of violating the laws of the country. Her detention came 3 days after Italy arrested Iranian national Mohammed Abedini in Milan, who is wanted by the U.S. Washington accuses Abedini and another Iranian national of supplying drone parts that were used in a 2024 attack, killing 3 U.S. service members in Jordan. Italian analysts believe Iran was using Salah's arrest as a bargaining chip to secure the release of Abedini, though Tehran has refuted those claims. Salah was welcomed in Rome by her partner and family members. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni was also present to welcome her back home. The Italian premier had personally called the journalist's parents to inform them of her release. She credited Salah's liberation to the government's, quote, intensive work on diplomatic and intelligence channels. Leader of Italy's largest opposition, Democratic Elly Schlein, also hailed her release and thanked the incumbent government for their effort.
Lebanon's parliament has elected Army Commander Joseph Aoun as president, breaking a 2-year deadlock. Aoun's emergence came after parliament held the 2 rounds of voting session to elect the country's president on Thursday. In the first round, the Lebanese army commander secured 71 out of 128 votes and fell short of the 2/3 majority required for an outright win. The vote, which saw all 128 members of the legislature present, took place amid chaotic scenes early in the session, with lawmakers shouting over one another. Aoun is considered to be the preferred candidate of Lebanon's key allies, the United States and Saudi Arabia. He now faces a daunting task of governing an overwhelmed nation. First, by maintaining the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hezbollah and working to revive an ailing economy that has decimated the country's currency and wiped out the savings of many Lebanese.
3 people were killed after police opened fire and used tear gas on a crowd of supporters of Venancio Mondlane in the center of Maputo. The crowd was celebrating the opposition leader's return to Mozambique following his self-imposed exile. Mondlane fled the country in October when unrest broke out after Mozambique's ruling party candidate won the presidential election. Earlier in the day, the opposition leader was greeted by his supporters at the airport, where he made a symbolic inauguration.
Self-exiled Venezuelan opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez is rallying regional support for the opposition's claims that he won the July election against President Nicolas Maduro. Days before Venezuela's presidential inauguration, Gonzalez held meetings in the Dominican Republic, having already made stops in Panama, Argentina, and Uruguay. He presented Panamanian President José Raúl Mulino with a photo of electoral documents that the opposition say are evidence disproving Maduro's claim to victory. On Thursday, Gonzalez will meet also with the Dominican President, Luis Abinader.
No respite for Los Angeles. A 6th fire broke out in the iconic Hollywood Hills neighborhood in the early hours of Thursday. Firefighters in the Los Angeles County area have been battling multiple wildfires that have been scorching the city since Tuesday morning. Officials say at least 5 people were killed in the blazes. Fires are spreading at a rapid rate due to the fast wind speeds.
We are still facing strong and erratic winds. In Palisades and in Sylmar, we are very much in an active firefight.
and the celebrity favorite Pacific Palisades neighborhood was hit the hardest. The Palisades fire is estimated to have damaged more than 1,000 structures, mostly homes. Many Hollywood A-list celebrities suffered serious losses. Paris Hilton's beachfront Malibu family home was burnt to the ground in the fire, and hundreds of other properties succumbed to the same fate.
About 5 of my friends' house burned down. Wow. That live up the street, and when it's a wind-driven fire, there's nothing that very little we can do.
The fires have cast thick clouds of smoke and ash across multiple areas in LA. Authorities say the air quality has worsened significantly and urge residents of the affected areas to stay indoors and remain alert.
Rescue teams in Tibet continue to search for survivors after a 6.8 magnitude quake struck the country on Tuesday morning. So far, at least 126 fatalities have been reported in Dingri. It is one of the deadliest quakes to hit China in recent years. By Tuesday evening, a total of 407 individuals had been pulled out from beneath the rubble, while over 46,000 residents have been relocated. Rescuers fear harsh winter conditions and high altitudes could reduce the chance of people surviving.